Hello everyone, welcome to John Matt Classroom. In this video, I'm going to discuss about the elementary row operation. So given the question, find the inverse of the given matrix where we have the 2 times 2 matrix, which is 1, 3, 2 and 4 by using the elementary row operation. So before we start our solution, let's look at the operation on the right hand side. So there must be a 3 operation that we need to follow or we are going to use during the procedure. So number 1 is interchange the I row with the j row. So where we have the symbol r sub I interchange with the r sub j. Second operation, multiplying the I row with a non-zero constant. So given we have the element, we multiply with a constant, which is the non-zero. So refers to the red in color where we have k multiplied with the selected row. Number 3, adding a multiples of j row to the I row. So in here we mentioned that we add something which is something multiplied with the j row. So refers to the formula we have k multiplied with the element called r sub j to the I row where we have r sub I. So first what we have to do is we have to draw some line. Okay. So number 1 is fill up the matrices. So for the left hand side we have to fill up the matrices given where we have 1, 3 and 2, 4. And for the right hand side, we need to fill up the identity matrix, which is 1, 0, 0, 1. So our main focus is to change the matrix on the left hand side, which is 1, 3, 2, 4, to the identity matrix. So from there, we can find the inverse matrix for the given matrix. So step number 1 is to make sure this one is 1. Followed by the second one would be the 2. We have to undergo the operation in order to make sure the 2 become 0. The third step is to make sure the element 4 by undergo the operation and we will have 1. Finally, we have to make sure the 3 become 0. So the step will be 1 followed by the 2, after that 4, after that 3. So let's start our discussion. Number 1, we already achieved our objective, which is 1 for the first row and first column, which is the A11. Next, we are going to focus the 2. So by referring to the 2, we are going to use the formula for number 3, which is row 2 will be our main focus. Then we have to make sure the 2 become 0. So let's say refers to the formula number 3 or the operation number 3. So in here we have R2 plus with the K R1. So meaning that if we substitute the value 2, we have to make sure the value 2 is equals to 0. So we must relate to the situation R1, which is the 1. R means that the row. Okay. So in here, we substitute the K and we must make sure it becomes 0. Next, rearrange the situation. So we will have K is equals to negative 2. So from here, our formula would be R2 minus 2. Next, we have R1. So that will be the situation. Make sure the 2 become 0. So by referring to this situation, what we have to do is to copy the situation for the row 1. Because we know that the row 1 won't change. So we have 1, 3, 1, and 0. Next, refers to the row number 2. By referring to the operation, so here we have row 2, which is 2, minus the 2, row 1. For that particular column, which is the 1. So finally, we will have 0. So in here, we will substitute 0. Next, we move on to the 4, which is the A22. Element for A22, which is equals to 4 minus 2 by referring to the row 1, which is the A12. The number is 3. So kindly simplify the situation. We have 4 minus 6, which is equals to negative 2. So here we're going to substitute negative 2. Next, we move on to the right hand side. Again, repeat the situation. We have R2. So for this part, it is 0. Minus 2. Next, we have R1. So R1, which is equals to 1. So finally, we have our answer, negative 2. Next, we move on to the final one. The R1 is 0. And the R2 is equals to 1. So in here, R2, which is equals to 1, minus the 2 multiplied with the R1 for that column would be 0. So finally, our answer is equals to 1. So we fill up the 1 in here. So next what we have to do is to refer to the second part. So now we have to make sure the element for 2, 2, which is the negative 2, to become 1. So what we have to do is to make use of the second operation, which is the k R2. So why I name it R2? Because we are referring to element A22, which is located in the second row. That's why I name it as row 2. What we have to do so that the element become 1. So in here we can substitute k multiply with the R2, which is equals to negative 2, equals to 1. That is our final objective. So rewrite the situation. So k is equals to negative 1 over 2. So our formula or the operation would be negative 1 over 2 multiply with the R2. So R2 means that the whole row means that the second row. So what we have to do is to copy the first row because for the situation it won't change. So 1, 3, 1, 0. Next, focus on the second row. So where we have, substitute the 0. Next, kindly imagine we have the situation negative 1 over 2 multiply with the R2. So for this case, the value is negative 2, which is equals to 1. Next, keep on going. We have negative 1 over 2 multiply with the row 2. Again, we have negative 2. So answer is equals to 1. Next, we have negative 1 over 2 multiply with the row 2. So we have 1. So answer is negative 1 over 2. Next, what we have to do is to focus the element A12, which is the 3. We have to make sure the 3 become 0 by making use of the operation number 3, where we have R1. Why R1? Because the 3 for the element 1, 2, which is the row 1. So in here, we have row 1 plus the k. Next, we have to relate it to the second row. So kindly substitute the situation. So in here, the row 1 is equals to 3 plus with the k for the row 2, which is equals to 1. And finally, we must equals to 0 because for the element 1, 2, the final answer must be 0 because we want to achieve the identity matrix. So in here, we arrange the situation and we have k is equals to negative 3. So rewrite the formula. So we have R1 minus 3 multiply with the R2. So that will be the formula for this part. So rewrite the situation. So R1 minus 3 R2. So in here, what we have to do is to copy the second row because the second row won't change. So kindly refer to the situation 0, 1, 1, negative 1 over 2. Next, focus on the first row. So if we substitute 1 minus 3 refers to the second row, which is 0. So the answer is 1. So we write down the 1. Next, move on to the second column, which is 3 minus with the 3 multiply with the second row where we have 1. So the answer is equals to 0. So can you fill up the 0? And we already achieved for the left hand side, which is the identity matrix. Keep on moving towards the right hand side. So we have R1 where we have 1 minus 3 refers to the R2, which is 1. So our answer will be negative 2. Finally, the final column where we have 0 minus 3 and then refers to the R2 where we have negative 1 over 2. So if we simplify the situation and we will have 3 over 2. So here will be the answer 3 over 2. So finally, we can write the answer A inverse is equals to, we have the 2 by 2 matrices, which is negative 2, 3 over 2, 1, negative 1 over 2. So here we are, and thanks for watching.